Alrighty, welcome back to the workbench. And one thing I do on occasion when really interesting or unique products come across my radar screen, I like to throw up a quick video just to let people know about them. And this is something that I think is absolutely incredible. And I want to give a shout out to the individual who does this in a moment. So one of the subscribers contacted me and says, Rob, I can't really work on a model railroad right now, but I do 3D printing. Do you have anything you want 3D printed? I was like, well, how about some PRR, Pennsylvania Railroad, battery type boxes. And you can see there's telephone boxes. And, there's just the kind of details that are neat to have, are everywhere, and yet sometimes a little bit harder to get. And I know a lot of these type of items are available from, is it Details West or Details Associates? You can get the various size boxes, but these are actually made per Pennsylvania Railroad standard drawings off of one of the Pennsylvania Railroad sites that has actual PRR drawings. They're scaled. They were drawn up, based on the drawing, printed, and to me, I was interested in seeing how the technology of 3D printing has evolved, and it's gotten pretty damn good. I'll zoom in and try to, with my limited, photographic and video abilities, show you what these things look like. But they're fantastic. I can tell you in person, these look great. So what these are various battery boxes and the telephone box based on Pennsylvania Railroad drawings. Now, I have also seen photographs of boxes that look darn similar to these. I don't know if they're exact, on the New York Central, on the Reading Railroad, on the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. And I think if you look through, like I did, through some of the various Morning Sun books, the Trackside series, the Facilities series, you'll tend to see these things and they pop up. So these probably are applicable not only to the Pennsy, but to other railroads, at least in the northeastern type region, that I've seen as well, and possibly more. So let me pause here real quick, try to get this set up so I can kind of zoom in and take you through how these things look, because I think you might be interested in seeing the detail on these. Alright, to show you how they show up from off of the printer, this is how I get them. And these are the, FYI, these are the Pennsylvania Railroad 509 series. We called them 1, 2, 3. I think if you look at the drawing, they're actually XYZ. You can see they're on little supports. That's how they come out of the printer. And what's really cool about it, at least I think, it actually says on the base down here what they are. 509, 1, 2, or 3. That's kind of cool. So you have to break them out of the supports, which for the solid boxes is easy. You got to be careful, however. Now here are the phone boxes, the open and the closed. And I did break one of these, but that's okay. I'm going to mount it on the Sharon station. And just pardon my ginormous hand reaching in there, but so that kind of shows you how they come out on the lattice work. And you need to carefully snip them out. So there's open, closed telephone boxes. And these over here are the 510 series. Again, we called them 1, 2, 3. I think if you actually look at the drawings, they're actually XYZ, I think. Anyway, small, medium, large. So they come in, and again, you got to very carefully get in and just nip those. And then at some point, they tend to snap off. And again, these are solid, so there's really no issue with it. They just kind of, boom, they snap out, and they're fine. But you do need to be careful with the telephone boxes. So that's what these are. Again, the Pennsy 509 series, XYZ, 1, 2, 3, open, closed telephone boxes, and the 510 series. Now the larger one in the back, let me pause and show you that one, because that looks so cool. Let me just show you that one by itself. Alright, this one here is a pretty cool box. This is a 512. And that's the one side. I guess I'm calling it the front side. And it comes, again, very similarly. It is, let me try to get some focus. Boom. And it's supported. You can see how it's on the braces there. Or the lattice work, as it were. Again, very cool. So that's the 512 box. And again, it looks beautiful. I mean, and let's be honest, on the layout, you know, you're probably never going to be looking at them at the magnification I'm showing you these now. But you can kind of see the way these look. And they look fantastic. In fact, inside the open telephone box, there's actually a telephone. I'll try to manipulate my light and get a... I don't think I can get a video or picture of it, but it is in there. And then there's the one that I mentioned that I broke. But that's okay, because I've also seen the telephone boxes mounted on wooden posts, telephone poles, signal bridges. So having them break every now and then won't be a big deal. And in fact, I was probably going to have to break it anyway, but so that's what they look like. And again, these are scaled per the Pennsy drawings. Now, the one item on these, due to printing limitations, I don't know if I'll be able to show. I'm sorry for the shakiness here. On the bottom of it there, you see the supports that run up. Those are slightly overscale because they're just too thin to print. I think in the real world, they call for like a 1-inch, you know, support. Well, you could always cut those off if you're really anal about that kind of stuff. You know, glue on some 010 wire or something like that. But to me, they look good. The concrete base is slightly oversized as well, just so it's visible. And let me just zoom back a moment here. On the telephone boxes, and again, I'm going to reach in with my ginormous Godzilla hand. There is a little mounting extension, so you can mount them. And that's how I painted and primed them. Put them in there in the foam. So that's how they could mount on the layout. So that's pretty handy. So that is that. Alright, let me show you how I went ahead and got these painted up and ready for the layout. Alright, so to get these things ready, obviously you have to nip them out of the supports, which is easy to do. Did a little bit of sanding to clean things up. And then I took them upstairs. I give them you don't really have to do this according to the manufacturer, but you can. I took them up. I give them a little bit of a rinse in some water with some dish soap. You know, lightly brushed them with an old toothbrush I use for that. Rinsed them off, let them dry. Then I gave them a primer with a Tamiya surface primer, the light gray primer. Although probably any primer would work. I think the Vallejo hobby paint would work as well. Pretty good. And then to paint them, I used, for the aluminum part of it, which I forgot to grab. Let me grab that guy and bring him in here to be part of the celebrity status here. Tamiya XF16 flat aluminum. It's good. It's a good paint. I like it. It goes on well. You know, sometimes these metallic paints are hard to, at least for me, you know, aluminum, brass, copper, steel, I don't know, they just don't paint well. But this is good paint. I like it. And then for the, I'll kind of sneak in the back there, but you saw it before. For that aged concrete color, which is the way they look. It's kind of interesting, but almost every photo I've seen, they look almost exactly like that. Here's what I came up with. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's what I used. My normal go-to concrete color is Vallejo Chalk White, which is 73006, just for basic concrete. Then you weather it up and it looks fine. I don't agonize over complex mixtures for concrete. It's silly. But for this, to get that kind of yellowish aged concrete look, I yellowed up the chalk white with dark yellow, 70.978. It just seemed to work okay. So I say I have some here left over because I was just winging it. I have no idea the measurements. I just went till it looked right. I'm not one of those ink guys that's really concerned about, oh, what's the exact paint color? It's got to be an exact match. Oh, phooey. Get it close, weather it up, put it in a layout, no one's going to know. So that's sort of how I did it. It does take a little bit of time, because the first thing I did was paint the aluminum on the top, let that set up for a little bit. Then I came back and went around and did the concrete right over all the little accoutrements. Then came back with a really tiny brush and did the edge of the covers and the outlet boxes, outlet covers, and the blank plates and whatnot, and the latches, the locks, the padlocks, which are all there, which is so cool. So that's how I went through it. So it takes a little bit of time, but I think the results are well worth it. Now, obviously, the full 512 box, which is all aluminum, was pretty easy. Let it prime up, dry up, paint it with the aluminum paint, and you're good to go. Yeah, of course, you could airbrush stuff if you really want to be that way. I'm not. I try to avoid pulling an airbrush out if I can. I just brush painted everything. Again, these are just battery boxes. I know some guys are going, you got to airbrush it. No, you don't. They're going to be weathered up, put in a layout. No one's going to really notice. I don't say notice. They may notice them, but they're not going to judge you on the paint on these, as long as it looks okay. Anyway, I digress. So that's how they're cleaned, primed, and painted. Alright, so I would be extremely remiss if I did not include this. This is a shout out to where I got the actual inspiration for this. You can see the photograph there in the center and the one down below there. This is an article in the Keystone Modeler, Winter 2017, by Mr. Jack Consoli. Fantastic article. And I saw this, I was like, wow, this guy's awesome. He did some great, great work. Beautiful stuff. Typical of the Pennsy guys. They know what they're doing, and they do it extremely well. Well, the way he did it was he scratch built the 512 box, and he did casting and resin of the other stuff, and I was like, that's great, but I don't have the skill or the time, to be honest, to do all that. I wonder if I could cheat and have these 3D printed, which I did when the individual reached out to me. So I hope he doesn't mind that I kind of cheated and didn't follow his process. But he was the inspiration for all this. And in fact, his article provided us with the dimensions for the 512 box. So that's what we used. And again, they were scaled right off of that when that box was actually printed, 3D printed. So a little bit easier, at least for me, to do it this way as opposed to what Jack did, which is fantastic work. I mean, they look absolutely gorgeous. But again, I just don't have the bandwidth to do that. But this was the inspiration. So shout out, thank you to Mr. Consoli for writing this article, taking the time and the effort. And I hope he doesn't mind that I kind of updated things and that these are now 3D printed. Yay, the gang's all here. Alright, so to wrap up, I want to give a super duper shout out to the individual who made all this possible, Mr. Don Domzalski. Don, I hope I pronounced your last name correct. If not, I apologize. But Don, again, reached out to me, said, hey Rob, like I said, I can't do any modeling right now, but I'd love to do some 3D printing for you. I was like, ooh, okay. So that got to this point. And these are absolutely wonderful work. A lot of effort on Don's part. He took the standard drawings. He took the drawing out of Mr. Consoli's article, drew them up to scale, set the printer up, went through many, many test batches, some misprints, learning how to get things oriented correctly. I'm not a 3D printer expert, so I'm not going to try to dazzle you with stuff. Don certainly could. But absolutely gorgeous work, so I can't thank Don enough. Now, for those who may be interested, I will put Don's email in the description. He's okay with that. I told him I love these so much, I'd love to do a video of it. And do you mind if I put your contact information in case people want to reach out to you? He was okay with that. So, it'll be in the description. It's I tell you, the guy, this stuff is fantastic. I got a lot of stuff here. He was very, very gracious and printed a bunch of stuff off for me. He offered to do it free of charge, but I felt, the effort was so involved, I did actually reimburse him for part of it, certainly not for all the time. But, you know, he's got to buy resin, he's got to, you know, set things up. A lot of effort involved. So, again, I do appreciate that. And, again, we have some future work underway, hopefully. Don, hint, hint, doing some Transformer-related items for some realistic Westinghouse transformers from the 1950s. Because, again, that's another pet peeve of mine. But, you know, many of the Transformers you see just aren't quite correct. But I'm working with Don to hopefully remedy that. So, shout out, Don. Thank you so much. His contact information will be in the description. And now I'll try to put some photographs up that I could try to get as close as I could with some manual focusing. We'll see how things look. Just to give you an overview of these, send to some nice, gentle background music so you can enjoy the detail on these wonderful 3D items by Mr. Don Domzalski.